I hadn't acted in a while, so when we finally got to filming, I was there on the first day, and we kind of just jumped right into it. And it ended up being great. I immediately loved being in a movie again, but you know, acting isn't the kind of thing you can, or for me at least, you know, the kind of thing you can have self-faith in, because like, it's such a felt thing and you don't really have control over it too much. I know at least for me, if I thought about it for too long, I couldn't do it, you know? Part of the movie was trusting my environment and trusting myself a little, even though I had no faith in myself, but like just forcing myself to do that. It ended up working.
Filmmaker Magazine presents Back to One with Peter Rinaldi.
Elsie Fisher stars in the movie 8th Grade. Bo Burnham wrote and directed it. They both sat down with me in New York City to talk about the work. I want to know from both of you where you were both at before you met each other. And I'm talking about career-wise. Like, I heard you say that you almost gave up on this whole thing.
Yeah.
And so I want to know where you were at before you came into the audition.
Career-wise, I was kind of ready to like be done with acting because I wasn't getting roles I enjoyed and I wasn't getting roles at all. And you know, I think it's difficult for teenagers to be in acting because, you know, I was never someone with a perfect face, and you can hire an 18-year-old to play a 13-year-old and they can work for however many hours. So yeah, I mean, there were just a lot of converging factors, and I'm like, I could be spending my time focusing on my art because that could be a career I have, or you know, I was getting out of school all the time.
Which is illustrations.
Yeah.
Really
yeah.
good. She's an illustrator.
But yeah, I mean, I could be spending more time in school, focusing on that and getting ready for college. But I mean, I was just out all the time and I wasn't enjoying it. And then I saw the audition and I got really excited and now I'm here.
When you say saw the audition, like what does that mean? Does that mean, did you have somebody sending you stuff or were you looking?
Yeah, well, generally my agent will find whatever and then she'll send it over to my dad and he'll forward it to me.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I saw the script and I was really intrigued and I was a fan of Bo's comedy and I'm like, director session? Yeah!
I asked her for by name too, that's why she found it. I was quitting comedy, so I was in a similar place.
We were both quitting.
Quitters, a couple of quitters figuring out something else.
Yeah.
That's where I was. I was done with performing. When did we meet? It was maybe January 2017. Yeah, somewhere around there.
And where were you in the process of finding Kayla?
She was the second person that walked in because I had watched a video of her online, and I can find an email a list of 6 girls that I wanted to bring in with her at the top going, I have a really special feeling about her. So I was kind of rooting for her the entire time. But I mean, I found her a week before auditions started. I didn't find her when I was writing or anything.
Right.
I just found like some random interview with her that had 12 views online being asked about brownies or something. And I was like, her vibe is just like exactly what I want. And then she was the second person in the room. And I then after her auditioned 100 kids, went to all around the country meeting kids and testing them just to make sure that she was really
always like
one.
Putting everyone against her, kind of, probably.
Yeah, she was the one to beat, yeah.
Yeah.
The only time there was one person that auditioned before her, and so that person wasn't trying to beat her in my mind, but everyone else was. And they were wonderful actors, like
yeah, I'm sure.
in their own ways. Like I was generally just impressed with what young people can do, but no one was really touching her.
Yeah, I mean, let me go back for a second and just talk about how insane you were to write a script like this, expecting it to be good. You're banking on this person. The whole thing is about this person, but she has to. It's not just a heavy with plot, and the person has to carry it, and the person carrying it is 13 years old.
Yeah.
You happen to have found her. We know this now. It is a success story.
Yeah.
But like when you were writing it, were you thinking, this is gonna be great?
Not when I was writing. I mean, I was lucky enough, and it's probably a problem I'm running into now, but like I was lucky enough when I was writing at the time to not be thinking practically. I mean, other than I was trying to write it small and relatively low budget so that I could make it. I really just wanted to write it to write it. I was in a place in my life when I was writing it where I just wanted to enjoy writing. So I was writing not even thinking necessarily about making the film. Just like, let me just write this and enjoy writing something. So let me just write something that I enjoy writing. So I wrote the movie, and then it was like, all right, maybe this could happen. And yeah, I had a lot of conversations with my girlfriend where I was like, how is there going to be someone that can do this?
Right.
Because for me, it was more like, again, some people think it's like improvise or something. It's like the scene under the desk with her and Aiden is like a very complex performance that you have to give, where it's like she has to be embarrassed, but trying to hide it, trying to be cool, but failing, reacting to her own stuff. And none of that can feel put on. It has to feel The thing is, Kayla as a character, which is the characters I tend to like, is a character that's constantly performing. So you have to do a performance in a performance. She's very rarely ever trying to act like herself. So you have to see something genuine putting on something.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids that came in, it looked like two layers of performance. It looked like someone pretending to be shy and then having that pretend shy person pretend to be cool in a moment. And the baseline of who Kayla was, she just always understood. And yeah, I mean, part of that is just her being in it and not questioning it a little bit, but also just like, there was also a sense of, in writing the movie, like, she's out there somewhere. The person that can do this is out there, I think.
Yeah.
If she can trust me.
Right.
You know, that's probably another thing too.
Can I get some props for listening to your commentary on the DVD?
Sure.
All the way through.
That's hilarious.
A lot of people don't do that, okay? I love commentaries.
Yeah.
Okay? But in the commentary, you're talking about that scene, and you say, I love this scene. And you say some other things, and you say, I don't know how I did it, or I don't know what I did. And you said immediately, you don't have to know. That's what great acting is. And that's what I've learned in these talks. I'm like, how did you do that? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, and it's like some kind of instinct or some kind of...
Yes, well, it's certainly not an articulated, intellectually ability. Like, that's definitely not the way you...
No, it's definitely very felt. I mean, I know at least for me, if I thought about it for too long, I couldn't do it, you know?
Right.
Part of the movie was trusting my environment and trusting myself a little, even though I had no faith in myself. But like just forcing myself to do that, it ended up working, so.
Oh, yeah. And what did you do to create? Everyone says director has to create an environment, a safe environment. She just used the word environment. I mean, like there was something there that she felt.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's the director's job to create the environment, because I think it is the crew creates the environment, and the crew did a huge amount of heavy lifting in terms of creating an environment that made her feel safe. And I think a director needs to at least try to set a tone, or, I mean, this sort of, the tone of the place most often usually emanates from a director in some way, if a director's toxic or angry or all that stuff. But I just like being with the actors. I like the actors feeling like I'm in the scene with them. We're trying to get this thing together. It's not like I have some specific vision in my mind and now it's your job to deliver on what I have in my head. It's more like, okay, like, let's crack this together. Okay, we're not getting this. 5 or 6 takes.
Yeah.
What do you think's happening? And it's like, it's not ever just on you. It's on us. We're in this together and we're exploring, and it's fun. And please fail. Please take a risk. Please try something new. We're going to do a bunch of takes, and we're going to act our ass off. You know what I mean? Like, that's why we're here, to act and to have fun and to commit, to try to do something spontaneous and interesting, be out of control. So, you know, I just have a real passion for acting, and kind of sort of want to create the environment on set that I wish I had found when I got to set and started acting. You know, which I had sort of fell in love in theater. And then sometimes when I got to film acting, I was like, man, they're talking more about the lights than they're talking about us, and like, I think people are looking at the actors much more than they're looking at the lighting, and why isn't a day on a film set more about acting?
Right.
At least from the limited view I have.
And you said that you were only nervous really on the first day. Did you say that somewhere?
Yeah, or at least I was nervous on the first day of pre-production and then again on film, or when we were filming. Because, like, there were a lot of factors. I hadn't acted in a while. This was my first lead, first time in New York. So there were a lot of factors that were really scary for me. And it's like the only person I really knew from the auditions was Bo and one of our producers, Chris Dorr. So, I mean, like, I didn't know anyone either. So that was freaky. And then, I hadn't acted in a while. So when we finally got to filming, I was there on the first day and we kind of just jumped right into it. And it ended up being great. I immediately loved being in a movie again. But, acting isn't the kind of thing you can, or for me at least, the kind of thing you can have self-faith in. Because, like, it's such a felt thing and you don't really have control over it too much. And it's really difficult to, like, just, think about doing it, I guess.
You guys talk about in the commentary how he kind of kept the script away from you, totally. And you even say like 90% memorized, or like you were trying to keep that, like to have that little bit of something. And I think that was a nice, like that was probably the perfect ratio, I think, probably. I could see why you did that. But I just want to know, was that, because you had acted before, was that a little scary not being able to totally memorize everything? Or, I wanted to just know what that was like. It ended up being the right thing. It ended up being perfect, but was it scary?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. It was definitely scary at first because, like, part of acting and what you do in a lot of projects is you have it memorized and then you do it the way it's supposed to be done. But, like, it was scary to not have it memorized at first, but then once we got in the, groove of it, it's like I had more control over this character than I'd had in any other character because I was allowed to improv. Even if it was just a little bit, it really helps it feel real, or at least real to me.
There was also, like, we rehearsed a lot.
Yeah,
the rehearsal wasn't like to get things perfect. The rehearsal was just to, like,
this
is what it feels like to act with me, and let's do it. And we do scenes, great. And I would tell her all the time, and we felt this way, like, this is all it's gonna be. It's just gonna be this with some cameras around. Like, it's totally fine. So then we'd show up and you'd know it or you wouldn't, and you'd get it and you wouldn't. She has an incredible memory where you can just give her 2 minutes and then she'll have it memorized if you need that. But like when it was happening on the day and we were filming on the day, the feeling was just like, great, yes, keep going. It was just, I don't know, I never felt worried about you or your performance. I knew it was the right thing was happening. So the challenges of the day were so many other things. So it was so funny how little I had to really worry about her performance. I mean, I had to work with it because it's like, but I just knew it. I never freaked out going, oh my God. Like I was, that is such another version of this movie where the entire production, I would just running around pulling my hair out trying to get a performance out of this kid because I have very, very, very specific type of performance that I like. Not specific line readings, but a specific feel of things. And I'm saying that could have been there was a version where I saw the production of this movie being like, every day I was going to be trying to pull teeth to get this naturalistic performance out of a kid actor. And instead, I could totally trust it from her, and then I could actually spend the day, a lot of the times, in the pool scene, for example, like I knew she was going to completely nail the feeling of and look of what it needed to do walking out and the emotion of that. So I could make sure the kid was dunking the ball in the right place and see, like I could attend to the world around her, which is like that is probably, so her strength of performance helps the rest of the movie in ways you can't even imagine because I didn't have to, I could just trust her and worry about other crap.
Right. When I went to film school, and when I thought like for a second about making a movie with a young person, I thought and this was the 90s, okay? I thought, no, you can't, no, kids got TV, you know, they can see performances all the time. I can't get this wrong. I would never, it's not like this movie that I used to like back then, Pather Pachali, you know, where it's like a little kid, it's like a 10-year-old kid. I'm like, the camera was like, they didn't even know what a camera was in the village, you know? They're filming this kid, and he's just, he doesn't have a TV, he doesn't know. And then, so just jump ahead to, you're carrying around a screen all the time, constantly watching performances, you know? And here you are, still able to, and a lot of the kids, like you said, I'm thinking like of a kid, just for a second, who hands the mic to her when in the karaoke. I love the way that kid is just in that moment for a second.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, so is it that this influx of performances doesn't affect you because it's an overload? It's almost like it's everywhere. Is that what it is?
I think it could be that, and I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that. I think it's way more top down than that. That's not to give me credit, but it's like to not give other people credit. Or like where it's like, it's the job of a director, anyone, to be like you can snap kids out of that pretty quickly.
Right.
I'm saying, I don't know, I don't think he did, but like there's a chance that I don't remember that the kid could have like handed the microphone the first time, like
right,
and then and you just go like, chill, like all you have to do is go like, chill out, like don't show me anything, you're fine as you are, like you know, it's like it really was just giving the kids permission to be themselves and not, like there's a funny scene like Big, I think it's the beginning of Big, where he's like walking around the carnival and he's playing sad and he's like, he's looking so sad, and it's like it's like, it's hilarious where it's like, and you gotta tell the kid, it's the simple acting thing of like, don't try to be sad, try to be strong in front of this kid, unless you're being a kid who's actively moping because you like to sit in your sadness for in that performative kid way, which I don't think he was doing. I mean, I don't think that was necessarily the choice. The same thing, we're just trying to communicate sad kid in the most obvious way. And it's funny to go after Big, but I love the Apu trilogy, and it's interesting how the performances interface with them. I think, but you can invite all the performance. You can invite the performance in as a kid, and still make it real. And it's actually the people that try to strip away all the way kids perform in their everyday life. In a movie that's super fake to me, when you see a kid that's like just a self-possessed kid who's just like, you know, for me, like the most 8th grade thing you can do is try to not be an 8th grader. Try to act older than you are, try to act cooler than you are. And a lot of the stuff in this movie are like, the performances I love of these kids are kids like trying to be cool and then reacting to it or overstepping, or, so there's ways to invite that all in. You just have to say like, you're welcome as you are. Be whatever you want to be, and every part of you is welcome in this performance. It's really some form of not being scared, not needing to be in control, not needing, as an actor, not having letting go and just like really presenting yourself. But that sort of, like you say, they're carrying around performances on their phone. That bleeds into their real life. That bleeds into their actual behavior. So that needs to be invited into a film about, you know, the current moment.
Right.
The way they fake things, the way they, like, I don't think Kennedy and her friends are the same way around their parents that they are hanging around each other, or, you know, like, that they're all doing their own thing. But what was incredible, which is very incredible with like that group of kids around the pool party opening the gifts, is like, those kids were performing, but they were performing like kids hanging out, not kids in a movie. And that's that's incredible that they could do that. And I think part of that has to do with, they're always filming each other, so it's not that big of a deal to them. They're not as camera shy. They live documented lives, so they're like, it's not this, being filmed isn't like this other thing that they can't imagine being natural in front of or something. But that's interesting, because that's like the exact opposite of what you said with Panther Panchali, which basically like, it's either if cameras are nowhere, you're natural, and if cameras are everywhere, you're natural. It's when cameras are a little like selectively, sorry to cut you off.
No, that actually gives me
an interesting point.
Gives me hope, actually, for the future in a way. It's like if we're just inundated, maybe it's going to be okay.
No, I think there will be it's strange that an over inundation of recorded media will actually strip away, I think, performances and make them more natural.
Yes.
Because if you look at Instagram, like what kids are posting, as fake as it is, it's super grungy. Like memes, like that kids laugh at, are not highly produced. They're like, look at all those chickens. It's funny home video stuff.
That's
It
right.
feels like super natural and subtle. So when I look at a movie about the internet, I'm like, oh, the internet movie has to be done like super naturalistically and not slick, because the stuff that the internet represents itself not in a slick way.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Even sketches that are done really badly, that like I'm looking like 3 million views on this thing, vertical, and it's just somebody in a car. It's just
exactly.
comedy. Yeah.
I love that. That's the shit I love. I don't love the produced, lit, corporate viral marketing stuff. I like the kid.
Yeah.
Like Vines, basically.
Yeah, Vines and Musical.ly and all that stuff.
Yeah. Music.
Not music. I mean, I don't like Musical.ly, but I just mean at least the aesthetic of it is
Right.
Just getting out of 8th grade and having to go back in 8th grade here. I mean, what was your 8th grade like? Was it in any way like Kayla's 8th grade?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely felt the anxiety she felt, and especially the struggle to articulate that, because that's something I definitely related to. I didn't really know I had anxiety until literally right before filming. So I definitely related to that, and I mean, a big draw for the script for me was the way she spoke, and I've never seen that in a film before, at least done right. I think people try to do it in films, and we're and it's that's teen speak, but it's never done.
It's Liddy, boy.
That.
We tried to represent that in the teachers and the parents,
Yes.
the way that kids try to speak.
It's lit.
Yeah.
But yes, Kayla's life, very similar to mine in a lot of ways.
Same face.
Same face. Lots of acne.
Yeah.
Brave.
No, the acting
That's such a brave choice. She gets called brave. She hates that, as she should.
Every teenager I know has at least some acne. We should normalize it instead of either trying to fix it or calling people out on it in a good way, I posted a video on Instagram that I was promoting a thing, whatever, but everyone in the comments was either ew, your face is disgusting, or oh my god, thank you for representing acne. But I don't want to be thanked for representing it. I just want to have my acne and eat crumpets or whatever.
As the saying goes. It's I'm in a movie and everyone's like, thank you for representing big, stupid noses. I'm like, hey. I'm like, wait a second. That's
What do you mean, my big stupid
nose out of
alone?
it.
Yeah.
And then I get calls from the Big Stupid Nose Association. I take that call.
We have to talk about Mr. Donia, who is Elsie's drama teacher.
Yeah.
Yes.
When I first heard you call out Mr. Donia for not casting her in the school play, I think I put a fist in the air and I was like, yes. And then the 4th or 5th time I heard you call him out on Kimmel and other places, I started to feel bad for him, but I also started to think, though, my favorite actress right now is Zoe Deutsch. And she was talking about how she wasn't cast in something, and she was on the show and she was lamenting. She just found out last night, and I said to her, "You're the actor of your generation. How could this?" It was basically calling out this person who I don't know, who didn't cast her.
Right.
But since then, actors have talked to me, and it's just look, I think this is the performance of the year. Your performance is the performance of the year. If we don't start talking about you in this award season, then something's wrong. But you may not have been right for that play.
No,
I mean, you may not have been right for that play.
Also, I think probably too, the skills of an indie film
are
very different
than what you need for a stage.
For a high school play. But we need to say, I've had to do my mea culpa for Mr. Donia.
You made
our piece for Mr. Yeah, because really it was it was a thing that was like funny, and like they had some inside jokes for Mr. Donia. Like when she came back from Sundance, he was playing the clip of me calling him a hack. And then it was like funny in the class. Yeah, and like funny. And then I like, you just kind of forget that you're doing all these interviews. So I did like 50 of them, and then I stopped calling him a hack. I started being like, F you, just as a joke.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I was like, all right, this is not all right. And then so I've I publicly made my apology to Mr. Donia.
I will say, I think you talked to his son. His son got mad at you.
Yeah. His son was like, "You're calling out my father publicly." I'm like, "Yeah, all right." I'm like, "Bro, I'm sorry." I'm like, "Sorry." I like, whoops. I didn't. I just got a little.
I will say this: Mr. Donia is still joking about it.
Yes.
Like he's still totally in on the joke.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was being taught a subtler technique than high school stage play.
Yeah. I mean, like in the audition, Mr. Donia was like, louder.
Which is very funny because I was telling her quieter all summer.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
I'm taking a big chance with what I'm going to ask here. This is my theory. I'm a fan of your comedy, and I thought that this guy. That was a spit take. What? Ladies and gentlemen, a spit take. You're good. A real spit take.
Like it's raining inside now too.
Why aren't the cameras running?
Yeah.
And I thought this mind is going to do something amazing, And then when I heard about this movie from Sundance about a teenager, I thought, okay, this got to be good though. Like there's something, because this guy's too good, right? It's not autobiographical, obviously, but there is something there that you're mining in yourself that's represented beautifully by Elsie. And I was trying to figure, and it sent me back to this quote, which I'm going to read.
Oh,
okay,
boy. It's mine.
Quote: "Social media is just the market's answer to a generation that demanded to perform. So the market said, here, perform everything to each other all the time, for no reason. It's a prison. It's horrific. It's performer and audience melded together. What do we want more than to lie in our bed at the end of the day and watch our life as a satisfied audience member? I know very little about anything, but what I do know is that if you can live your life without an audience, you should do it." My theory is that your hero is this character, able to live without an audience. She has no audience for her performances, and she succeeds in the end.
Pretty good effort. No, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's definitely one. Yeah. I don't really analyze my stuff like that. That's like more for you to say than for me
than
to
you even comment on.
Yeah, even to comment on, and not like in some airy way. It's like you're getting at something very correct, which was that I was looking through. I was interrogating performance through the lens of someone with an audience, me with thousands of people.
Yeah.
And I was very, very interested in someone that no one was paying attention to. And I did feel like that was the actual heroic story of our culture right now. Is not that is the cinematic version. Is not the celebrity, is not the person with an audience, is actually the person without it. I had a huge audience. The kids in my audience didn't have an audience. And we felt like when I did my stuff, they related to it. So I was like, all right, you're relating to me, now I'm gonna relate to you. We've told our story through me, now let's tell our story through you.
Please tell me, Elsie, that this wonderful event of this movie has made you not want to give up acting ever again.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I won't say I won't.
Yeah, ever again.
Ever. I mean, like.
No.
I mean, I won't make
Ever
any
again.
promises for future me.
Yeah, you don't have to.
But I do want to stay in the movie world for sure. But I don't know if I want to always do acting. I'd like to write. I'd like to direct, or whatever. I want to see all the functions of it, I guess.
Yeah, you're young. You can do whatever you want.
That's right. Guys, Elsie Fisher, Bo Burnham.
Hey.
Thank you so much for this, okay?
Thank you. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
the
yeah,
time
this
and
was
the
really
thoughtful
fun.
questions.
Awesome.
Back to One is a production of Filmmaker Magazine, which is a publication of IFP, the Independent Filmmaker Project. It's produced by Spencer Ring. Listen to back episodes of this podcast at filmmakermagazine.com or wherever you get your podcasts.